Welcome to The Explainer. Now, when you think of Iran, your mind probably jumps straight to modern headlines, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden history, a story that has shaped your world in ways you probably can't even imagine. So, what is the real story of Iran? Well, if you look past the geopolitics and the news cycles, you find a civilization whose impact is felt all across the globe, often in places and ways you would never, ever expect. What we're about to uncover isn't just the history of a country. No, it's the history of a cultural and religious powerhouse that didn't just exist in the ancient world, it was actively shaping it. To really get this, we have to go way, way back, long before the arrival of Islam around 1300 years ago. For millennia, the land we now call Iran was home to a whole series of powerful and incredibly stable empires. I mean, just look at this timeline. You've got the famous Achaemenids, that's the first great Persian empire, then the super resilient Parthians, and the incredibly influential Sasanians. These weren't just some fleeting kingdoms. These guys were pillars of the ancient world. And here is what is truly remarkable: their staying power. We're talking about a combined total of over 1,200 years of continuous civilization. That kind of stability, it's almost unheard of in any period of history. And their connections were just vast. Get this, ancient Chinese records actually had a specific name for the Parthian Empire, Angxi. That's hard proof of how these empires were connected across entire continents long, long before our modern idea of globalization. So you have to wonder, what did the millions of people living in these huge, long-lasting empires actually believe in? What was their faith before Islam arrived on the scene? Well, to find that answer, we need to rewind about 2,500 years, back to the time of that very first Persian empire, the Achaemenids, because it was then that a totally revolutionary new faith was born. That religion was called Zoroastrianism. And what's so wild about it is that its core ideas, well, they're probably going to sound surprisingly familiar to you. Okay, so this right here gets to the absolute heart of the religion. A profoundly dualistic worldview. It was all about a constant cosmic battle between a single god of goodness, who represented light and truth, and this opposing spirit of evil, representing darkness and chaos. And this is where the story goes truly global. Because this ancient faith, born in Iran, literally planted the seeds for concepts that would grow to define some of the other major world religions. Just think about these ideas for a second. A final judgment day for all of humanity, the existence of angels and demons, a huge cosmic battle between good and evil, even the promise of a coming savior or messiah. These concepts weren't new inventions. They were all central ideas in Zoroastrianism, thousands of years ago. So you can actually trace this clear path of influence. Historians have shown how these powerful ideas first began to shape the beliefs of Judaism, particularly after the Babylonian exile. And from there, they were pretty much inherited and adapted by both Christianity and, later on, Islam. So how on earth was this incredible transfer of ideas even possible? Well, it all boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful factor: geography. See, ancient Iran wasn't someplace on the edge of the known world. For all intents and purposes, it was the center of it. It was the essential land bridge connecting the great civilizations of the East and the West. Just look at this dynamic. You've got the Roman world over in the West, and you have the great Chinese empires in the East. And who's right smack in the middle? The Persians. They weren't just a place to pass through, they were the essential hub, the indispensable middlemen for all trade, culture, and ideas. Being in this central role naturally made Iranians expert communicators. They became masters of trade, multilingual diplomats, and skilled bureaucrats. Their homeland became this incredible melting pot, an incubator not just for goods, but for new thoughts and even whole new religions, like Manichaeism, which was this fascinating blend of Zoroastrian, Christian, and Buddhist ideas. But this story isn't just about the abstract history of ideas. Oh no. We have stunning, physical proof of this global reach, and it was found in a place you would never, ever guess. That's right. The evidence for this vast, interconnected ancient network has been perfectly preserved for over 1,200 years in the imperial collections of ancient Japan. Inside an imperial repository in Japan called the Shosoin, which dates all the way back to the 8th century, archaeologists found these: a glass pitcher made in a distinctly Sasanian Persian style, and this incredible silk brocade showing a Persian king hunting lions. These items traveled the entire length of the Silk Road to end up in Japan. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This is unbelievable proof that the world was far more connected for far longer than we often assume. It completely shatters our modern notion that globalization is some new thing. So ultimately, the legacy of ancient Iran isn't something that's just confined to its modern borders. It is a global legacy, one that's deeply embedded in the culture, the trade, and even the foundational faiths that connect billions of people on this planet today. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a piece of ancient Persia can be found in 8th century Japan, what other profound connections that shaped our shared history are still out there, just hiding in plain sight?